Hey guys, let's see how I'm going to be discussing if I think we're ever going to get a Thawne origin story before the Flash is done. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe for new, notifications on. Let's get into the video. So, there's been a lot of stuff related to the Arrowverse, the Flash, Superman and Lois, Justice U, that has been revealed, or quote unquote revealed. It's probably fake, but who the hell knows? If it is real, Flash Season 9 is more than likely the last season. Now, Eric Wallace has, I'm pretty sure, after the Season 8 finale aired, when he was asked this, he said he would like to do an origin story for Reverse Flash, which would include Matt Stone, bringing him back. And they also pretty much set that up in 805 when Tom Stone said that he and Barry meet for the very first time 2 centuries from that point in time, or close to it. So on some level, we're going to be dealing with our Barry, I would assume our Barry, going to 2 centuries in the future and meeting Eobard Thawne. This is when he just got his speed, he looked up to the Flash, he wanted to be like him. We know the full story after that. Barry saved the crowd, this must prefer Thawne, and Thawne saw that his legacy was to be the Reverse Flash, to be the exact opposite of Barry. And he just went full on psycho mode, but, that's DC for you, but, I don't really know if we need to see it in live action, because we pretty much have all the story, right? Like, we know Thawne made the block to get his speed. This entire time we thought that Thawne had actually made the Negative Speed Force, but it didn't. The Negative Speed Force came to Thawne and gave him his powers. Thawne never made Negative Speed Force, right? He got his speed. Like I said, he wanted to be like the Flash. He wanted to be like Barry Allen. And he's about to present himself to the world as a hero. Barry came in, saved the day. Thawne got pissed off. Realized his legacy was to be the exact opposite of the Flash, thanks to the Flash Museum. And, the full story there. Now, an Origins episode would be great. But would it really be worth it? No. If it's done well, I could see it working out pretty damn well. However, it would be an interlude episode / filler, because there's no way that could just fit into the story. Now, we know that Reverse Flash is nowhere in this timeline, thanks to the 821, the ending scenes. Eobard Thawne is no longer in the timeline. What that means is, technically, like with Iris, is that she's during that time period when she quote-unquote died, and Barry said that she was just erased from this timeline, but the changes hadn't caught up with him yet. With Thawne, with him being erased from the timeline, it's just up to that point. And there's really nothing to change here, because he was technically already dead to begin with. If you really think about it. I mean, how many times has Thawne died and come back? Right? He died in Season 1, came back. He died in London Season 3 or whatever, came back. He died in London Season 7, came back. Although that was a good version. He survived Crisis. He survived a lot of things. But, he's been kicking around for a good while now. So, even though Eddie's dead, somehow Eobard Thawne's still alive. I'm not going to go into the statistics of that, because we're going to be here for a good 2 years, but I do see them doing an origin story. The only way it could really work out well is if it's done well. And I do think Eric Wallace knows what he wants to do with that, but it has to be more than Barry just traveling the year 2200 or whatever it would be 200 years from now. There would have to be a good reason for it, a very good reason, because we've already clarified Barry and Iris' kids are in 2049. right? So why would Barry have to go 200 years in the future? Unless it's like maybe there's another Armageddon type esque event that happens and Barry goes there to stop it or something. And it's not like a reverse Flashpoint thing. It's like a legit Armageddon. And our Barry goes 200 years in the future to check it out. He realizes it could happen, but at the same time, there's no longer a Flash there, so he becomes the Flash of that year, or at least, for a little bit, saves people. Eobard Thawne's origin story happens. It connects back to some whatever the hell is going on in that story. The why Barry's there, and there you go. I would assume, now whether Barry or not would realize that, I think it would dawn on him later on, like, oh crap, this is, the origin story here, the full one, and we're actually living it. But I don't think it'll be super obvious to Barry. It'll be super obvious to us. But especially not to Barry if he's just saving a crowd. Like, that's a random crowd. Thawne never said, oh, he saves a crowd in front of Star Labs while a bomb's going off. He just said he saves a crowd. He didn't say where. He didn't say when. Besides 2 centuries from then. So, you would have to be, like, really specific for Barry to be like, oh, this is that, this is that thing. But the thing is that Barry has to save the crowd, otherwise then we're looking at timeline issues. Where Eobard Thawne saved the crowd, he never became the Reverse Flash, meaning he never won the fight Barry, and all that. But at the same time, there's still the Flash Museum, and if Eobard Thawne went into that, as we know from whatever episode of Season 5, unless that changed, in the Flash Museum, when you go to Reverse Flash, it says his name is Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. So that would kind of dawn on Eobard that, hey, I'm the Reverse Flash, I'm evil, what the hell is that going on? So, which is also at the same time a little bit weird, because why would they put that in that timeline? Right? Why would they put publicly in that Flash Museum 2 centuries from now that Eobard Thawne is Reverse Flash? Yeah, they know, but did they really have to say that it's Eobard Thawne when he isn't the Reverse Flash yet? I mean, I guess it's a whole heady thing. Like, they're not really expecting anything bad to come out of it, right? I mean, for Barry, assuming he's alive, which why would he be? In 200 years from now, I don't think they're all like, oh, this will be the reason Thawne becomes a Reverse Flash. No. They're not going to think that. I'm sure Bart and Nora, or whoever the hell the tech people are, in the future, they didn't think of that either. And, hey, we could see Max Mercury, right? We could see that. We could see future kids of Bart and Nora. Did Barry say Nora had kids? Or Bart did? One of the two. I mean, we could see Wally's kid, or Wally's kids. Wally's kids had kids. I don't know. It'd be a whole thing, pretty much. Who had kids, who didn't. It's going to be a whole mess, and it's like, what the hell? And I mean, it legitimately could be a whole thing. This is assuming Flash Season 9 is the last season. Now, I don't think CW would ever cancel The Flash, because the show does well for the CW, whether people want to admit it or not. It does do numbers for the CW. So, with that being said, if Eric Wallace wants to go to Season 10, 90% of the time, he would get a Season 10. Season 11, Season 12, I think that's going to be the point where CW's like, okay, you need to start dialing it down, wrap up your show and get it done. If it goes to Season 11 or 12, I think CW and Eric Wallace, or Mark Pedo, I should just say, and Eric Wallace will have that discussion, as in, wrap up the show, you're done, right? We're not going to cancel you, just wrap it up. I could see that being a discussion in Season 11, if it ever happens. But the CW is not going to cancel The Flash, unless the numbers start dipping, which, again, if the news regarding Superman, Lois, Justice League, and Gotham Knights are true, which I really doubt they are, but if it is, I think the Flash's numbers will go up. Because everything that we just learned about just you, Superman, Lois, you know, I'm done watching Superman and Lois. Unless I change my mind. And I've seen at least a few hundred people say the exact same thing even now. I mean, I'm still seeing that now across YouTube, Twitter, and somewhat Instagram. When I'm on there looking at posts, I mean, people are legitimately done with this show. So we're going to be seeing a massive dip in the Superman and Lois ratings. I think that's going to really amp up the Flashes. I think people will return to the Flash on some level. And whether or not that will ever result in the show continuing for like 3 seasons, you know. Justice Hugh, however, with all the controversy that's surrounding it now, if it's part of Superman and Lois' world, I'm not going to call it Superverse, but if it is part of that world, I mean, that show's not going to do well either because all people aren't excited about that. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're excited for Justice Hugh. We're excited for Diggle to get his own show, but we were excited about it because it would be our Diggle. Not a Diggle that we've only known for 2 years, that we at first thought for the last 2 years, even the last cameo that appeared in Superman and Lois was in fact the Arrowverse Diggle that Todd helping call us idiots for not recognizing that's not our Diggle. Or do we forget that part? Let's also remember, Justice Hugh has a Superman and Lois writer on it, so undoubtedly they're gonna that show up. Jesus. Look how this went from a regular video to like a rant in the past like 10 minutes. 5 minutes, whatever. Which, by the way, I might do a full video talking about the Superverse crap. I don't know. Probably not. I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about it now since it is kind of related to this video. At least with the Flash. Paigey. Obviously everyone knows Paige. If you don't know him, well, welcome. He said that the YouTuber who reported on all this was accurate. I don't think so. I'm not saying I don't trust Paigey, I do, but I don't trust the comic Chris Kai, or whatever the hell his name is, who did the quote-unquote interview with David Ramsey. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't sit well with me that David Ramsey would just outright say that to a random person. I mean, okay, he might have went up and said, hey, I'm a YouTuber, do you mind if I ask some questions? But the YouTuber said that David Ramsey sat down with him for like 10 minutes. No, I don't care. And it was at like a Comic-Con thing. No, I don't care what in the world that is. And also, look at David Ramsey. Look at TV Line. Look at Entertainment Weekly. Look at, I think it's a Deadline, and, you know, all these other news sources. Not one, not a single one has reported that David Ramsey has ever said those things. You want to know how I know that? Because when any of those sources or any legit news source reports that David Ramsey or like, okay, if Stephen Amell said on the Inside of You podcast that Arrow's coming back for season 9, TV Line, Entertainment Weekly, Deadline, even Stephen Amell himself would all back that up. David Ramsey, from what I remember, he hasn't done an interview in a good while, but he would share that interview across social media. Especially on Instagram, he would do that. He has not done that. There's not been a single legit news source confirming what David Ramsey, quote-unquote, said to that YouTuber. There's not a single one. David Ramsey hasn't backed it up. He's not saying anything. Obviously, he sees all the people confused. I think it's very clear to say that that interview was faked and that it was just for clicks. Yeah, Paige is friends with them or whatever. He knows them. I don't really give a crap. I think the main point we have to look at here, and I will go over it more tomorrow, more than likely, unless I change my mind, but I think we have to be looking at here is it's still the Arrowverse. Justice U is going to be a part of it. They set it up to be. If it's part of Superman and Lois' world, more than likely it will bomb, not in a good way. Which I feel bad for David Ramsey, but, you know. And also, David Ramsey wouldn't just say that. He wouldn't just say, oh, I think The Flash is ending his 9th season. You know, it probably won't get picked up. And he also wouldn't say, you know, oh, I think Gotham Knights is part of Superman and Lois too, alongside Justice U, and all that. He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't just say that to a random person. I don't care if the person said, oh, I'm a reporter. No. And he was also there with Steven. And, you know, Steven didn't, you know, I don't see them just splitting up like that. I mean, I'm sure they do, but, you know, like if it was an ArrowCon thing and it was like airing a new season, they would split up and do interviews. But there was really no reason for David to do an interview at this Comic-Con, at least for 10 minutes. Let alone just him? No. I'm sorry, but no. That is the stupidest and most unreliable saying I have ever heard in my entire life. If it does turn out to be true, I'm not going to apologize for what I'm saying, but I'm definitely not going to be like, oh, we were all wrong, grow the hell up. I'm going to be like, okay, thank you for admitting it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we should all do. There's zero reason to trust this YouTuber. There's, like, legitimately zero reason. And if you actually look and listen, you can understand why I just said that. But this thing about The Flash Season 9 being the last season coming from David Ramsey, which, again, makes zero sense. First off, seems like a lot of out of context. And two, seems like he just clickbaited the crap out of that video. And if there was an actual interview, he obviously twisted David's words just to get clicks, views, subs, and all that crap. That's what it was. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's the truth. If you want to do well on YouTube, clickbait tends to get it done. And I'm not saying that's a clickbaiting YouTuber. I tend not to clickbait, you know? I mean, my thumbnails might do that, but... I mean, my titles are pretty damn accurate to what I'm talking about in the video, right? I try to make them as accurate as possible. But some people like DCTV show, aka Ben, or, you know, Comic Chris, I mean, they just clickbait to get views. You know, I know Pagey does it sometimes, but he does it well. You know, no one gives a crap because he's not really known for that. But he does it when the shows aren't on, but he still talks about what he says in the title, right? That's why we watch his videos. It's not entirely clickbait, but it's also not entirely accurate. But, well, this is a news video, you know. But, I don't think Flash Season 9 is the last season. And for David Ramsey, assuming he said that, which is nowhere near sounds like David Ramsey, to say that, ever, and just assume things, because that would piss off Eric Wallace. That would piss off the Flash producers. That would piss off CW. That would piss off a lot of people. I don't think David Ramsey wants to go through all that. Like, no. That's not David Ramsey. And obviously, Comic Chris clearly doesn't know David Ramsey that well if he was the one that clickbait his name and everything. Like, you know, I'm not trying to attack this guy, but come on. If you're going to clickbait or lie about stuff, do it about, you know, I don't know, Katie lost her to Sarah Lance. Do that. I don't know. But don't do it against someone that we've known for like 8-9 years very well, by the way. We've seen interviews of him, and no, I don't care if you got a picture with him, which he hasn't shown, by the way, from what I've heard, but it doesn't matter. I don't give a crap if Pagey vouches for him. There's no legitimate way that David Ramsey would just go out and say the Flash Season 9's last season, Justice U is not part of the Arrowverse, Flash is the last show of the Arrowverse, it's going to end next year. No, that's not legit, and that's never going to be legit. When news comes out in like a month, 2 months max, I would say, whether the Flash Season 9 is the last season or not, and if Stargirl's part of the Arrowverse, which it is, whether you want it or not, it is, we're going to be looking back at this and being like, wow, this guy lied. Not me, the other guy. And we do not trust him, nor should we. There's been countless YouTubers doing videos over this crap. Which, again, I'm doing one tomorrow, but I'm not clickbaiting the crap out of it. I'm not saying, oh yeah, it's legit. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, all these YouTubers are just giving this guy attention. I'm betting you $20,000. This guy, I don't actually have $20,000, so please don't put an actual bet on me, but this guy just wants attention. Clearly. Like, there's no way Dave Ramsey would not just sit there and not back that up if it was legit. It's because it's not legit. It was full of crap. The even funnier thing is that guy in the video, in his title, says in all caps, exclusive. Like, yeah, no. No one does that unless you're like an actual freaking podcast guy like the Flash TV show does. Or the Flash podcast or whatever. You know, that's fine. But, no. And you look at his other videos, they tend to be pretty damn clickbaity. So, you know, I mean, with DCTV show, we tend to be good with it, right? But, I mean, no. And the thing is that all these news sources, like some Lois news sources, fan news sources, I should say, not legit ones, but fan news ones, just sprouted this out there yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and just threw this at us and said, oh yeah, this is legit. No. I don't care. I'm going to talk about it more tomorrow, but, which I pretty much talk about it all here, but related to The Flash, Dave Ramsey wouldn't just say that. Period. He wouldn't. He doesn't know season 9 is going to be last. He loves coming to The Flash. He said that several times. He loves working with Grant. He loves working with Eric Wallace and the writers on that show. He loves them all. There's no way Dave Ramsey would just feel like, oh yes, ending is season 9. No. That's BS. And, you know, if it does come out to be true, from TV Line, Entertainment Weekly, or whatever, great. Whatever. I'm not going to apologize. I don't think anyone will, because it's like, that guy obviously twisted his words. One way or another, whether this is true or not, Comic Chris honestly twisted David Ramsey's words. There's no possibility that is not a fact. Because, there's no way David Ramsey would just outright say, oh yeah, Flash Season 9 is last season. No. He doesn't even know. Like, I don't care. That's twisting words, and I hate people who do that. It's just disrespectful and borderline rude. But look, yeah, I'm going to talk about more tomorrow. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.